Om Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Yenakshara Samamnayam Adhigamya Maheshwarat Kritsnam Vyakarnam Proktam Tasmai Paninaye Namaha Vakyakaram Vararuchim Bhashyakaram Patanjalim Paninim Sutrakarancha Pranatosmi Munitrayam Vagarthaviva Samprikto Vagarthav Pratipattaye Jagadav Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Namaste everyone, welcome to class. Hope you all are keeping healthy and are well stocked up in your homes and happy. You know, it's a very difficult time right now, so maybe some Sanskrit will take your mind off of what's happening. I don't know which is better, Sanskrit or watching the news right now. Just joking. Okay, so on the screen I have a warm up. So I put some questions up there. So we'll go through them quickly and then we'll continue on. So number one, in Karmani Prayoga, the first case noun is often in blank Prathama. So in Karmani Prayoga, the first case is often in Karmani Prathama, right? So when we're in Karmani Prayoga, the first case is often also Karmani. So it's the first case in the sense of the object. Right? So we would say like Gajaha Drishyate, the elephants are seen. The elephants would be in the first case, the object of seeing. Number two, in Karmani Prayoga, the third case noun is often in blank Tritiya. So when we're in Karmani Prayoga, the first case is in Karmani Prathama, but in the third case is often in Kartari Tritiya. It's the doer of action. In Karmani Prayoga, the doer of action is actually in Tritiya. So Gajaha Drishyate, right? Devadattena. Gajaha Drishyate Devadattena or Ramena. So the elephants are seen by who? By Rama or Devadatta. So that the doer of actions in the third case. So number three, in Kartari Prayoga, so now an active voice, the object of a verb can be in what case? So the object is often in the second case. So it's called Karmani Dutiya. Karmani Dutiya. Number four, if I use a noun connected to the word saha, what vibhakti could that be in? You can raise your fingers if you know the answer to this. Okay, yeah? So Tritiya vibhakti. We call that saha Tritiya. Number five, if I use a noun connected to prati, what vibhakti could that be in? You can raise your fingers if you know the answer. Yeah. Peace with you also. It's we would say non-karaka vibhakti. So dutiya. So it's definitely, yeah, dutiya connected to prati. So these are just some questions to test our understanding, see if we're remembering what happened in the past. If we are remembering, then that's good, right? That means we've been paying attention. If we're not, also no judgment. That's why all the videos are recorded, so you can go back and kind of find the relevant recordings for the first and second and third case, and just kind of go back and remember them. Also in the book, right, you can go back a few pages and just reread them before class, just to get a reminder of what all the different objects connected to the first, second, third case are. So it's something useful. So you'll see even in Vedanta class, you'll start seeing some of the vibhaktis for the words we see in Upanishad. So that's really exciting. You'll start seeing that this is Prathama Vibhakti, this is Tritiya Vibhakti. So maybe I can point that out more as we go into Upanishad class. Okay. So just as a reminder, third case, right? Often used to convey what we call karane, karanam. So karane tritiya. Also, it can be the karta in karmani prayoga, right? Like what we were saying. We call that kartari tritiya. This is just a review of what we did last time. It can be the cause of action called heto tritiya. That's like the cause, or because we would translate. Itam buddhe, something when you're indicating something else, you can use itam buddhe tritiya. And the fourth is saha tritiya that we talked about at the end. So when a word is connected with saha, it governs the third case. Okay, so that's karane tritiya, karmani tritiya. Then the first we saw is heto tritiya, which is non-karaka. Then itam buddhe tritiya and saha tritiya. So you definitely want to at least catch the karaka vibhakti. So karane and kartari. Those are probably the most important. Okay, I mean they're all important, but those are the most common, and you'll see those more often. Okay. Let's go to some new material now. Let me know if you have any questions with any of those, or with the homework. I can come back to that. So we're going to skip ahead to the fourth case. Before you jump to this in the book, I'm going to make you flip pages in a second, so you don't need to find this quite yet. This is Chaturthi Vibhakti. Okay, so you can repeat after me. Chaturthi Vibhakti. Chaturthi Vibhakti. Right? Vibhakti is a case, or a literal translation of Vibhakti is a division. So there's 7 divisions. The fourth division or case is, so fourth is called Chaturthi. The first one we're going to look at is called, it can indicate a sampradhanam. But first, let's look at what a sampradhanam is. So this is on page 15 of your book. This is where we want to start with your book. So page 15 in the textbook, you'll see sampradhanam. Okay, because the fourth case indicates the karaka of sampradhanam. So we need to go back to the karaka section, the factors related to the action, to remember what is the sampradhanam, because they're assuming that we already have learned what sampradhanam is, right? So fourth case indicates the sampradhanam. Okay, so repeat after me. Sampradhanam. Sampradhanam. Okay. A good way of remembering this is dhanam means to give, right? Dhanam, or you're giving charity. So here, this is the translation of sampradhanam is recipient of an action. It's the person you're giving to, recipient of the action. So if you see it says, this is a more complicated, but the recipient, which the agent wants to connect with the object of the action of giving, it's a technical name, sampradhanam. More simple definition of that is just the recipient of action. So the examples will make it more clear. Number 1, Devadatta gives money to the priest. Okay, so we always want to look for the action word first, right? So with reference to the action of giving, who gives? Devadatta gives. So Devadatta is the karta. He gives what? He gives money. So money is the karma, the object. And who does he give to? Who is the recipient? The priest. Dvijaya, right? To the priest. Brahmanaya, to the priest. So technically the definition is it's the recipient which with the karta wants to connect with the karma. So whoever, that person who the karta wants to connect with the karma is technically called sampradhanam. Another easier way is just recipient of the action. So who are we giving money to? We're giving money to the priest. Or who is the money for? The money is for the priest. Okay. So a good translation is to or for. Not the numbers 2 and 4, TO or FOR. Okay, so here's another example at the bottom of the screen, then example number 2. The teacher teaches the scripture to the student. Now, can you help me out in the chat with the recipient to the action of teaching? Who is number 1? Who is the karta? Number 2, who is the karma? And number 3, who is the sampradhanam? So you can just put number 1, 2, 3. Who is the karta, karma, sampradhanam? Who is the doer, the object, and the recipient of the action? Even if other people have typed it already, still, type it in so you make sure you don't need to look at their answer. Just you can check yourself. Okay, seeing a few more. Okay. Yeah. So with reference to the action of teaching, right? So we always want to find the action word, teaching. Now the karta, who is doing the action of teaching? The teacher. So teacher is the karta. What does he teach? What is the object? He teaches the scripture. So the scripture is the karma. And who does he teach to? He teaches to the student. So the student is the recipient. He's the one who receives. Recipient, another translation, recipient is the one who receives this. So he receives the teaching, so therefore he is the sampradhanam. Okay. Next one. He tells a story to the people. So tell me number 1, 2, and 3. Who is the karta, who is the karma, and who is the sampradhanam with reference to the action of telling? Okay, exactly. Right, we're getting this correct. So who tells? Yeah, he tells, so he is the karta. He tells what? He tells the story, so the story is the karma, and he tells to the people, so the people are the sampradhanam. Yeah, that's great. So everyone who's typed it in has gotten that correct. Now this last one, you don't need to type in the chat. We'll just, since we seem to be getting it right, Devadatta gets ready for the journey. With reference to the action of getting ready, Devadatta is the karta. And here we don't have a karma, right? We don't need all of the karakas, right? He's getting ready for what? He's getting ready for the journey. Okay, so let's go back. We want to go back to this sampradhanam. So now this is on page 79 in your textbook, or you can follow along on the screen. It's all the same, but we're on page 79. We're going to jump forward to chaturthi vibhakti. So what is the vibhakti arthaha? What is the meaning of the vibhakti for the fourth case? So the fourth case can denote the sampradhanam. So the fourth case, when it's connected to which karaka? It's connected to sampradhanam. So when it's in the sense of sampradhanam, it's called, naturally, it's called sampradhane chaturthi. We put that word in the seventh case. So sampradhane chaturthi. Sampradhane chaturthi. You might want to say that to yourself a few times so we can remember that. Example number 1. Devadattaha dvijaya dhanam dadati. Right? So we were just doing these sentences before, right? Devadatta dadati. So Devadatta gives. He gives what? He gives money, and he gives money to who? To the priest. So since the dvija, or the priest, is the recipient of the action of giving, that priest is put in the fourth case. Dvijaya or Ramaya. Yeah, I just realized that we never looked at Rama Shabda in fourth case. So we'll do that after this. The next example, Acharyaha Shishyebhyaha Shastram Upadishati. So again, verb, Upadishati, teaches. Who teaches? First case, Acharya. So the teacher teaches what? Teacher teaches the scripture, Shastram, to who? Shishyebhyaha, to the disciples, the Shishyas. So that recipient of the action of teaching is also the sampradhanam. So you can see that note here. Shishya, to whom the agent wants to connect by the action, is sampradhanam. Thus it's in fourth case. Let's see what our next slide is. Okay. What I want to do is I'm going to go to Rama Shabda, because I've realized we never covered Rama Shabda's fourth case. So I'm going to try to find that in the book. If you find that page before me, just tell me in the chat, please. Okay, so this is on page, I thought I got there, but I guess I didn't. Okay, it's on page 89 of your textbook, page 89. So on page 89, you can pull that up. So it'll look like this. So let's let's start from the beginning, okay? Ready? You can chant with me. Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha. Again, one more time. Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha. Second case. Ramam, Ramo, Raman. Again. Ramam, Ramo, Raman. Third case. Ramena, Ramabhyam, Ramaihi. One more time. Ramena, Ramabhyam, Ramaihi. Now we go to the fourth case, okay? So what we see is Ramaya, Ramabhyam, and Ramebhyaha. Okay, so if I go back here so I can show you what the rules are for this. So the fourth case, we see Rama. If we do it in transliteration, it'll look like this, Rama. This akara is elongated, is made long. And then, so it becomes Rama, and we add ya. So Ramaya. That's 4-1. So the akara becomes long, and then we add yakara. So Ramaya. The 4-2 is the same as 3-2. So Rama, that akara becomes long. So it becomes Rama. And then we have Bhyam. So Rama Bhyam. So now Rama Bhyam or Rama Bhyam. It's Rama Bhyam. You need to get that long letters. Rama Bhyam. Just emphasize it right now. Even though it's not as long, make it a little longer so you remember that. Rama Bhyam. Ramaya, Rama Bhyam, and Ramebhyah. So we see Rama. This akara gets replaced by A. Not English A, but Sanskrit A. And then we add Bhyaha. I'm adding transliteration and Devanagari together. This is a bit probably not proper, but Rama, and then we add A, and then we add Bhyaha. So Ramebhyah. Okay, we do that again. So Ramaya, the akara becomes long, we add yakara. Ramabhyam, that akara becomes long, we add bhyam. And Ramebhyah, that a becomes a, and we add bhyaha. I'm going through these steps if that's helpful. Otherwise, you can just memorize that part. Sometimes different minds work in different ways. So if you wanted to know how it actually transforms, this is how it transforms. But let's say it together twice. Ramaya, Ramabhyam, Ramebhyah. Second time. Ramaya, Ramabhyam, Ramebhyah. One more time. Ramaya, Ramabhyam, Ramebhyah. Okay, and we can do any of the words that are on that sheet. So acharyaya, it's a lot of us. Acharyaya, acharyabhyam, acharyebhyah. Or devadatta, ready? Let's do it together. Devadatta. Devadattaya, devadattabhyam, devadattebhyah. Or shishya, shishyaya, shishyabhyam, shishyebhyah. You know it's Sanskrit when you hear some bhyams and bhyah. No other language you'll hear bhyam, bhyah. So if you really want to impress someone, just start saying bhyam, bhyah. And then they'll know then they'll know you're speaking Sanskrit. They'll be really thoroughly impressed. All right, going back to what we were talking about. We're going back to Sampradhanam. Not this. This. Yeah, so now we saw Devadattaha Dvijaya Dhanam Dadati. So Ramaya or Dvijaya. Acharya Shishyebhyah or Ramebhyah, just like Ramebhyah, Shastram Upadishati. Okay. Let's continue a little bit. We can probably do one more, or we can see an example. So let's go to the end of the book. Sorry, I'm jumping pages a lot, I know, but I'm trying to get all the material in one place. So we're going to back of the book, page 173. So you can see page 173. Fourth case homework in the back there. Chaturthi Vibhakti looks like this. Okay, so I would actually not look at the book. Just pay attention to me with the screen. It'll be a little bit easier. We'll break it down one part at a time. So we're going to look at the example that's on the top there. So we see this example, Devadatta Putraya Desham Dadati. So we always want to pick up the verb first, right? Here in these sentences, Medaji, who wrote this book, was happy to put the verb at the end. It's not always at the end, okay? So we need to be able to recognize the verb. It's not always at the end. Here, because we're learning, she put them at the end. But so don't always automatically think that it's going to be at the end. You'll see that in Upanishad class. Verbs are all over the place. Okay, dadati. So dadati, dhatuhu, dadatu, which is 3U. So it has a little bit of a different formation, but it's very common. So da, 3U, to give. So it's important to know when you see this dadati, you'll see it commonly. It comes from da, 3U, to give. Okay. Ting pratyaya latlakaraha, so present tense, kartari prayogaha, active voice, third one, pratama purushaha ekavachanam. So far we know that something gives. He, she, it gives. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next. Who gives? We always, so after the verb, we always go to the first case. Okay, so your mind, don't look for anything else. You want to look for what looks like Ramaha. Okay, what looks like Ramaha? Devadattaha. Okay, so you want to look for the first case. Here we get Devadattaha. So pratipadikam. So verb, nouns are made up of two parts. Pratipadikam and supratyaya. That's why we spend so much time in the beginning, right? So Devadattaha, pratipadikam is Devadatta. Akaranta pullingaha shabdaha. Supratyaya, the suffix for this noun is prathama vibhaktihi ekavachanam, 1-1. And the meaning of that vibhakti is, if we're in kartari prayoga, it's going to be kartari prathama, to dadati. You always have to say to which verb. Which verb is the karaka connected to? If it's non-karaka vibhakti, then you don't need to write which verb it's connected to. Okay, so notice that. Now, so far we know who gives. Devadatta gives. Okay, won't let me write. So Devadatta gives. Devadatta gives what? Desham. I don't know how he has the power to give the desham, but desham. Desha, it's akarantaha punlinga is the pratipadika, supratyaya dutiya vibhakti ekavachanam, so 2-1. And karmani dutiya tu dadati. So it's the object of the verb of giving, right? Because second case is often the object. So he gives a desha. Desha often means country, right? He must be a big king. Devadatta must be a big king here. Okay, now we have over here, you'll see now our next word, putraya. So here you notice how we went from verb, first case, then we go right to left. So putraya. Pratipadikam putra akarantaha punlingaha supratyaya. You know, it looks like Ramaya, so chaturthi vibhakti ekavachanam. And it is the object of giving. So sampradane chaturthi. Okay. Fourth case in the sense of sampradanam. Here we're missing it. It's cut out the screen, but should say to dadati. So we know that who is he giving it to? He's giving the land to the son. Here I wrote country. I guess it can be also translated as land. So Devadatta gives the land to his son. Putraya. Okay. Any questions or thumbs up if you're okay? If you have any questions, let me know. All right, let's do one more example. Oh no, we need to learn more to do one more example. Okay, let's learn a little bit more. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where I am. All right. Okay. Now, this is not anywhere in your book on this page. I took this from the second case. when we talked about the second case, this note happened to come up. But we get an example like this in the homework, so I wanted to bring it up, that a destination of going or moving action is also considered to be a karma. Okay, but fourth case is taken optionally. So if it's a karma, we can call it second case, or fourth case is taken optionally as a sampradana. Okay, it can be either one. When we're talking about a destination of a going or moving action, we will often get the fourth case. It's not a recipient of action as much, but it still gets that fourth case, okay? So maybe we don't need to call it the sampradhanam, but this is also a way we get the fourth case. This was given in the example before. You might have been confused about why we said the location is also given the fourth case. So you see, Devadattah gramam or gramaya gacchati. Okay, so grama is in the karma of the tingad, therefore it's in the second case, or it's the fourth case. Actually, let's scratch this out. Let's not call it a sampradhanam. Okay, let's call it a non-karaka vibhakti connected to fourth case. So when you see that a destination of going or moving, we're gonna call it a non-karaka vibhakti connected to second, connected to fourth case. Okay, so you wanna mark that down on that page. On that page that you're looking at, page 79, you wanna note that a destination, all you need to write is a destination is also put in the second or fourth case. So a destination is also put in second or fourth case. Okay, that's what you want to note on page 79. That's not there, so I just wanted to point that out. Okay, I don't want to rush us, so I know we only have a few more minutes, so I don't want to get into the next thing, but we'll do one more example together. I'll pull up my paper and we'll do one example. We'll do part of one example at least. Okay. All right. Okay, so you see this, this is in the back of the book, page 173 again. Krishna Ramaya Ramena Saha Gacchati. Now, I don't want to go out and write all of the information for this just because of the sake of time. So we'll just talk through this, and maybe I'll ask for your help in the chat as well. Let me make this bigger on your screen. Okay. We always want to look for what first? The verb. Verb happens to be the last word here. So we would write gacchati. Dhatuhu is gam dhatu. Right? Gam becomes gacchati. Ting pratyaya. Laktakaraha. Kartari prayogaha. Prathama purushaha. Ekavachanam. Third one. Tsusadati. Okay. Now, can you tell me in the chat, what's the next case I look for? What's the next thing I look for? Can you tell me in the chat? Yep, thank you, Saroja ji. All right, first case. So I'm gonna look for my first case. My first case is Krishna. So so Krishna is akaranta pullingaha prathama vibhakti ekavachanam. The vibhakti artha is kartari prathama to gacchati. So who goes? Krishna goes. All right, so we go verb, first case, then we go right to left. Saha is an indeclinable word, okay? So pratipadika saha, we don't really know much about that. But let's go to Ramena. Ramena, okay. So Ramena, pratipadika is Rama, akaranta punlinga, supratyaya is, what case is this? Third case, third one. We would say 3-1 rather than third one. Yeah, 3-1. Now, can you tell me in the chat, vibhakti arthaha for ramena? What is the vibhakti arthaha for ramena? What's next to it? Yeah, okay. It's saha tritiya, because it's connected to the word saha. Because it's connected to the word saha, we get the third case. So Krishna goes along with Rama. Did I write the sentence wrong? Ramena. Let's look in the book. Gramaya. Okay, thanks. Gramaya. So that should be Gramaya. So Gramaya. Okay. Oh my gosh, I wrote it wrong again. Anyways, you got the idea. Gramaya. Okay. Gramaya. So Gramaya. So he goes along with Rama. Now, the object of the verb can be in two cases. It can be second case or fourth case. Optionally fourth case, non-karaka vibhakti. So we would say grama shabda akaranta punlingaha, chaturthi vibhakti ekavachanam, non-karaka, because it's object of going. Okay? That's that note that we just put in the book. I wanted to show you the example in the homework. That's number 5. So here you could write Krishnaha Gramaya, or you can write Krishnaha Gramam. Second case, either one. Ramena saha gacchati. Whew, got through a lot there. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om. We'll come back in about 4 or 5 minutes, so we'll start at 8:11 or 8:11. Okay, so we'll take.
Can I ask a question, sir?
I'm still here if you have any questions, so if you want to type in any questions.
I have a question.